Okay, so we can get started. Anybody have questions before we jump in? Okay. Um, okay, so what we'll do now is we're gonna stick in this area, but we're gonna go ahead and go back in and get some of that black back in. So grab your black, make sure it's really sharp. So I'm gonna sharpen mine because we're starting to get in a little detail work now. So we want nice sharp pencils. And we're going to go back in here and just start to darken this up because we ran over it with those grays. Now we shouldn't really see any more white of the paper in this area. You're going to see it in other areas, but if you do, you just have to keep building your layers. So I'm just going to start bringing this value up, darkening this up. That's more brown up here, so I'm going to put a little bit of black in, but not much. It's kind of that burnt sienna or beige sienna. Brown sienna. Oh my goodness, too many siennas. Each brand calls their sienna a different type of color. So it's burnt sienna and brown sienna and sienna. So I'm just kind of, this is right under where this is. It's right underneath. So, and I don't mind pushing this back a little because I'm going to use my tool to lift some of these pieces of hair over the black. So I know it looks a little stubby right now, and that's okay because I'm going to take care of that after. So just working my way down, following the dark on my photo. Definitely not seeing spots on my paper, so that's good. That means I've got some layers down. Okay. Go right up into here. And coming down. Look how nice that pops now. So nice and dark. As we come down, it gets a little, there's not as much black. So I'm keeping it more up in this area because as we come down and around, it's going to be more of a gray. That kind of comes down in here. Okay. There. Definitely darker under here. So, and this is, I gotta punch this up. This should be wider. My little eye piece here, it should be like that. So I'm gonna take some of these ends off. There we go. Okay. All right. There is this little spot right in here. So I want to get that in. I'm just going to approximate. I'm going to put it right here. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to, there's a separation of fur there. So there we go. What else? Little bit in here. I'm still with black, but I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to go too dark. Just a little dark down here. This is so exciting. This part is so exciting for me. I love it. When we start to get into all this detail, you can really start to see it come together. So I want to stay here. I want to focus here because we weren't really able to get the rest done. And I want to show you like from the, you know, beginning to finish what it will look like. So, okay. So now I'm going to switch to my sienna brown. I want to get some of the browns up here. So just going to kind of fluffy, just trying to get some color up there. Fluff it out a little bit. That this is up in that beige part. I'm not putting it everywhere, just kind of in spots. And then here. This is very blue. I gotta tone that down. I'm gonna have to use red in there to fix that. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's put some on the ends here. Right there. What I'm doing right now is I am building up some color because what I want to do is I want to use my tool, my scrape tool, and pull some of these little pieces of fur off with my tool, but I want some color underneath. So when I pull it off, you still see hints of the burnt sienna, the beige, things like that. I did that with my buffalo. So if you haven't had a chance, check out my buffalo on my website. And that's what I did. I built up all these colors, right, underneath for these on the buffalo. It's like for these little pieces of curls and stuff. And then I used my tool, which I'll show you in a few minutes. You got to build enough up though. And I used my tool and scraped some of the top layers off. And what it revealed was some of the pretty colors underneath. So that's kind of what I'm doing here on top. And this section of fur in the front here, this right here, is a little darker than what's back here. But you could do the same thing in the back too. So. What are you doing, Chloe? Again, I'm using my reference photo, but it's not exact. I'm just kind of going by intuition here. Get some of this in. All right, and I'm going to take my brown over here and I want to get this a little darker, these ends. So I'm pushing up into the ear rather than coming down. These are the little tips of the ear. It gets a little lighter over here. So stick back here, and then it gets pretty dark. Okay. That's super cute. I'm getting very excited about my ear. Oh, hang on just a second. Okay, sorry, my son is volunteering at a sanctuary for horses, and she messaged me. I just needed to make sure everything was okay. Okay. And I apologize for my dog. I'm on class. Sorry. Okay. So I'm getting some nice dark browns in here. I'm going to bring it right up into this gray just because I feel like it. Feel like it'll look good, and it does. Oh, pop some in there. I'm just kind of playing now. I am going to get a little darker in here on the forehead, going into the ear, because I want this line, this definition here. So I'm going to pop some darker colors because I want to see where that ear is. So I'm going up into the ear and getting some color in there, right along this forehead. This is textured, so I'm going to do dots. There we go. Now I can see this a little bit better. It's dotted all the way up here. Okay, and I do want to get some up here. Now, this part up here, I'm going to crisscross and kind of, I'm not going to put them in like a perfect order like that. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of crisscrossing this top section, because if you look at it, it's kind of like that. It's pulling up, but it's got little pieces of fur that are kind of crossing over one another. So I'm gonna do that as I'm building this. Okay, like that. And then it comes down, and we've got some pieces that come up over the forehead here that are part of the ear. There. Okay. I'm going to pull a little bit of sienna brown from my black here down into, just in spots. I'm not doing the whole thing. Just getting some strokes in that I can see some brown. And then I'm going to use my gray and connect it all. Okay. All right. All right, now I'm going to switch to my 90%. I'm going to sharpen it, my warm gray, get a nice point on it. And I want to transition down here. So from the black into the lighter colors, I'm just kind of getting that connected. So like we did before with the lighter gray, I'm not pulling it all the way down, just connecting them. Keeping space in between. As I come into this lower section, it does get a little darker here, down here. So I can pull it down a little further. And I can go up into the ear like we did before with the brown. I'm keeping space. I still want to see my brown sienna peeking through, but I am kind of going from this part of the fur up into here just a little bit. So cute. Okay, I don't like this right here. See this blunt spot? My eye keeps pulling to it. So I'm going to take my white and I'm just going to go right over it. It kind of erases it, blends it in. And now I can take my gray again and pull a nice, now it's a white block. So I'm just going to pull some strands down. See how that kind of fixes it without having to use your eraser. There. Really, really cute. Now, what you want to do too is kind of stand up, step back, and just see, is there anywhere here that your eye's going to, it feels awkward, and right away this is jumping out at me. So I need to break this up a little bit. So I'm just going to take my gray and put some little spots, lines in here, just to kind of, something's not right in this area, and it's probably because this is not finished. So I could actually take my gray and kind of separate this from the ear. There. That looks better. So take a moment and kind of look at your drawing and see if there's any areas that you need to kind of soften or break up that don't feel right to you. If they don't feel right to you, most likely the person viewing your drawing is going to see it too. And it will stand out to them. So I'm just kind of doing the forehead here, just separating the ear from the forehead. Just a little bit, just so I can kind of see what's going on there. See how that just makes that pop out more? Just by adding that little bit of darkness on the forehead. And I can do it up here too, because this definitely gets darker. Okay. There. I've got this nice definition now on my ear. And just kind of very lightly blending this a little bit. Gotta break this up here. There. Don't worry if it got a little too dark. We're going to use our tool, so it's okay. Don't panic. And if you don't have a tool, I'm going to show you a way to use tape. Now, tape has not been successful for me, but I've seen other artists do it. It might be just the thing for you. So I'll demonstrate it, but it is not my go-to. All right, last thing I'm going to do before I start to add texture is I just want to make sure that these are, I've got some really good layers in there. So I'm going to go to my 20 gray. I'm going to sharpen it at a nice point. I'm just going to go back up into the ear with the lighter gray. If you're still seeing some whites of the paper, the white spots, go ahead and try to fill them. I'm still not using heavy pressure. I've just built up some layers that it's starting to burnish the paper. So I'm starting to see less of the gray spots. Okay. I'm also going to start to beef up my little piece of my fur up here with my gray. Going right over those blacks I put in. And the brown. Okay, and I want to show you something. So what you can do, now that we've got this black built up, I'm actually going to go ahead and put just another layer in there. Just in here. Really get that nice and dark. Because I want to show you how we can start to pull some of the fur over this. All right, so got this nice thick layer of colored pencil down. So a couple things I can do. I want to be sure, very sure that this is thick enough. Because if not, you will damage the paper if you're using the slice tool, because you're going to gouge the paper rather than taking some of the pencil layer off. So you always want to make sure you have enough on there. Okay. Well, I think we do. So a couple things we can do. One, you can take a very sharp, either white or your gray 20, which is here, sharpen them real tight. I'm gonna wait till my dog's done barking. One moment. you can, a little bit, you can go over black with a lighter color on this paper. You only want to do it once or twice because as you do it, it's going to not have the same effect, if that makes sense. So if I want to make this piece right here pop out more, I can very hard, putting pressure down, swipe that right over the black. See that? And I lift. So I can get some of the pieces in that way. You don't want to do a lot. It's just a couple pieces that are going to be, that come over the black. It just shows that this is on top of this. Okay, so I can put a couple more in. And I want to lift when I do it. Oop, hold some black up there. Didn't want to do that. Okay, that's not my favorite way to do it, but you can do it that way. The other thing you can do, if you have the, where did I put it? I brought it in. The slice tool. Okay, I have to go get it. I thought I brought it in. One moment. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. I do have it. Okay, if you have this tool or an X-Acto, either one will work. So you can take this, the tool, you start in the fur up here, and you can pull over the black and make, whoop, little marks, little tiny slices of fur, which is my favorite way to do it because I can even make it up here. See how I'm taking some, remember how we loaded this up? And I'll show you closer in a minute. I am able to pull some of that and get the white of the paper again. I'm not using hard pressure, just gentle. I'm just scraping some of the colors off, going in the direction of the fur to get that scraggly kind of top fur. So I can come down here into the black and do the same thing. Now, if you don't have enough layers down, you're not going to get a good effect. Okay. So you can do that. Then if you don't like, if it's looking kind of scraggly, it's okay, because what you can do, so you pull your fur down, you get this all the way you want it. And this is where you can do the, like that type of fur, the little scraggly pieces that are on top. And that's how we would do the chest. But what you do, you get your little slices in. Okay, and you can do that here too. You can slice and get some scraggly pieces. It's very subtle, because, and it should be. We don't want it like in your face. It's really cool. I hope you guys can see this. So you can get these very squiggly textured pieces of fur coming off. I can do the front of the ear here if this were built up more. It's not built up very good, but I am getting a little bit of an effect, so I can show you guys. So you can definitely start to play around with this front part we did, and really start to get the texture and the depth, because these are the final, like the final pieces. You shouldn't brush your paper like that. That's a bad habit I've gotten into. Instead, you should have a soft paintbrush or one of these, and brush it that way, because you can smear colored pencil. What's going on? So down here we have some squigglies that I can put in. Or just pull some some of the colors off. And underneath are all those pretty colors we put in. Now, if you do too much, you're going to start to lose the effect. So it's within, you know, you don't need a lot. You don't need to do a lot to get the texture that you want. If you start, you're going to take too much off and then you're not going to see it. So. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And then I'm going to show you one more way to do this. Again, not my favorite, but some people love it. Let's see, what else? I want to put some here. And a little bit down here. Are you guys able to try this? And what do you think? How is it going? Okay, so then we can, I love how this looks, but sorry, if you want to accentuate anything, sharpen your white pencil really, really sharp. Okay. Then you can get into even more detail. You can sit down, you can go to some of those little pieces you did and just enhance them a little bit. See that? And it just lifts them up above. I'll show you a close up in a minute. It lifts it up above the other colors. And I'm doing some squigglies because I want a little texture there. But it took some of the color off that we can get that nice white, or say you want like a light brown, you can get that in there. But again, so important to know you have to have a lot of layers down to do this, or it's not going to give you the effect that you want. And that can be very, very frustrating. You end up damaging the paper. So if you're not seeing the lift and stuff, go and put more layers down. Probably don't have enough on your paper. Oh, love this. I love it, love it, love it. And then up here, I can, where I scraped, I can go ahead and go right over with that pencil. See that? And start to really get those fine lines in there. Yeah, love that. I love the blues that are still coming through. So pretty. There. Super fluffy here. I would work this more and get some fluff up here because this needs to be higher like that. But I would start to build this up now. I would get my layers in and start working all of this. And that's how we would do the whole ear, just section by section like that. Okay, so just get those in. What else? I do want to fix this a little bit in here. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. I might have to take a picture and send it to you just so you can see it better. But I will try to lift this up so you can see this section. So see that? So hopefully you can see like some of these little squiggly lines in here, and they kind of go up into the dark. I've got this nice and fluffy here, and of course it's not finished. We would continue to add, you know, our beige and our browns there, but look at the front of this. Look how soft that looks. I want to pet this dog. And then down here, yeah. So I hope that you guys are able to get that texture. Now I'll show you quick how you can do it with tape. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it on my dog because, like I said, it never works well for me. So I'm going to actually, let me see. I'm going to try to put some black in here and see if I can lift in the front here. So let me just, maybe I can do it. Let me get some dark color in here. And again, you want to have, you know, enough layers down that this works. So let's see here. What I'll try to do is pull some of these really fine white pieces of fur that are like her lashes that are coming off the eye here. Let's see if I can do that successfully. Okay. Just one moment. Good. Okay, I'm going to add just a little brown in here. So if you don't want to try the Scotch tape technique on your dog, try it off to the side. Just what you want to do is put down like a black square, a big enough square, and really, really like burnish it, press hard, really get it down there. And you can try the technique over the square instead of doing it on your dog to see if you like it. You don't want to see any of the paper white, the tooth. So, okay, I'll try it here. So if I were to take a piece of tape and you want to be able to see through it so you can see where you're putting it. So basically you're going to hold this, you're going to hover it over the section you want to lift from, okay? So you would kind of just, you don't want to push it down because that's going to lift all the color you laid down. You just kind of want to let it set there. You're going to take a really sharp, you can use either a pencil or you can use a tool. Like I have an actual tool I've tried to do this with, like a stippling tool that's got a point on the end. So what I want to do, if I want to lift like these white hairs that are over her eyebrow, like coming off of her face. Oh shoot, see, I laid it down too much. I can try to hover the tape, right? And I just want to press hard and pull my line up and see how it makes a line. So, and it's not done. I'll show you what we do after. So you switch it to a new spot. And if I want to pull another one, I'm going to hover my tape, press really hard and make another line. So you can get like, you can do whiskers and stuff this way. And then I get a new piece of tape. Not the worst way to do it, but what happens to me a lot is the tape ends up sticking and I end up pulling off more than I want. So I'm going to do one up here. I don't know if I have enough down, but let's try like that. Okay, I got a little bit lifted, but you can see it lifted in this other area too. And then I'll do one more in the front here. See if I can get, see if I can get one in here. So coming off of here. It's moving on me. Yeah, it didn't work. Try it again. Maybe I need to go this way. Try that. So it did lift color. And then what you would do, what you can do is take your really, really sharp white and try to go over those lines. So you want it real sharp, and then you can pop it out like that. So it's a way to do it. It's not my favorite. So if I were to pop these in, I'll show you what you can do after. You can thin them.
Nikki?
Yeah.
Would that emboss the paper?
Yeah, it can. That's the other way you can do it. And again, I have done whiskers that way. Before you start drawing at all, you can lay any kind of like trace paper or anything over your line drawing. You can actually use a pencil or a pen, and you can emboss the whiskers. So it's basically, I'll just use this. So this would be like a clear piece of paper, right? Or like a transparent. You would lay it over, like if you have your dog, so you can see where your line drawing is, and you would take a pen and you would indent, you push hard and you indent the paper. This is before you start drawing. And if you do that on your paper, you can see where there's indentations. And then as you draw, what happens is those indentations stay white. So that's another way. If you want to pre-plan your drawing, you can do it that way too. So you can see how my pencil isn't filling in my gaps. So you can do real fine hairs that way.
Is that hard to make a correction with? It looks a little scary.
Yeah, I don't like to do it only because I still don't feel like they're fine enough. I guess if you have the right tool, but no, you can make a correction. So say I want to thin this out, or it's not quite right. You have to kind of get down into that indentation though. But see how I can, yeah, I lost it. That's why I don't like to do it this way. But I like real fine whiskers, real fine pieces of fur, but you can kind of, you know, fix it that way. And then hopefully the rest around it is going to be just as dark. But it's definitely a way to pre-plan your drawing. I prefer to do the technique with the, get enough layers on and do the technique with the tool. I just like it. The last way, which I'll show you. So let's see. I don't know if I can use the tool because I don't think I have enough on here. Yeah, there's not enough layers to get the tool to work. Okay, so then let's go back to this. So anyway, we would get that. We fill in the white, and then what I would do to thin these out, see how thick they are? I would take my black or my brown and just thin them out. So you can make them smaller. So it's definitely a technique you can use. I have done it if if I don't have my X-Acto with me or something like that. I have used the tape method. It's just really, there's so many other ways to do it. It doesn't feel like it's worth it. But it's something you can do for sure. So then here, now what you want to do, because we're working on white paper and we don't have a background. So we have this white eyelash or whatever it is that's starting in the fur and coming over the paper, but we can't see it because this is white on white. So what you do, I take a pencil, a regular pencil. You can use colored pencil, but I find a regular pencil works better because I can get it sharper. And I follow this line. Let me clean this up just a bit. Right here, got some pencil in here. And I do whiskers this way too. So if I'm working on a white surface, I want to indicate that this is still continuing past the forehead. So I would follow this line and just do like that. And it just indicates that, I'll show you closer. It indicates that this is an actual long piece of whisker or fine, you know, piece of fur or eyelash, whatever it is. So you can just kind of bring it out and taper it. Let me show you. Takes a second to focus, but see how that now indicates that this is going beyond the forehead. It's just subtle. It's just enough. You don't want a thick line or anything. And that's why I use the pencil, because I can get such a smaller point than I can with the colored pencils. You can with colored pencils, but it involves sanding the pencil and stuff, and I don't want to bother. So I just do that. The last way, I don't know if you guys had time to get this pencil. If you are going to continue colored pencil, you're going to want white and black. This is called the, it's Stabilo. It's the Aquarellable. I don't know how you say it. I sent you a link for them. They do come in like green and red, but I've never needed those colors. You might though, if you're doing flowers and stuff. This is for, you can write on paper, glass, plastic, and metal. But what this is awesome for, you can use it like a white pencil, right? It's still considered a pencil, so it won't, if you use it on your drawings, and you're trying to submit to a colored pencil show, and they only allow pencil, this, I believe, you have to double check, but this should still qualify. So it won't disqualify your drawing. But what's great is you can wet this. So I take a fine paintbrush, just any watercolor paintbrush. I get a little bit of water on it, and I get some white on my brush. Load it up. And then I can come over here and I can, oh, that's not what I wanted. I can put some pieces of fur in right on top. Now I realize that that's really white, right? But that's okay, because let me put some more in. And I can do lashes this way. So let me get a little more on here, and whiskers. Just like that. Much easier than trying to do the tape, or, and even honestly doing the what you call it, the tool, because you're not damaging the paper ever. So love these pencils. I have the white and the black, and I use them all the time for finishing my drawings. So if I wanted to get a little more white in here on the nose, I could put some tiny little pieces of fur in there like that. It's great for the white of the eye. Look at how it pops it right out. We never finished this lid either. If we have time, we'll do that. But you can put some dots on your nose to get more of a texture and highlight. So this pencil is just awesome. Now, see how we have, oh, and then let me just show you up here. We can really get this up here white. Like if we got this too dark, we would use our pencil then to add some white to it. And the beautiful thing about this, the best part of it, so let me, oh, that's a little thick. Well, let's just wipe it off and try again. So you can get some nice, oh, again, too dark, wipe it off. I'm rushing, so I'm not doing a very good job. Okay, so see how that just went right over the black? Now, what I can do then, what I love about these pencils is I can take my colored pencil. If I make a boo-boo or don't like how thick this is, you can go over it, because it is like a pencil. So you just cover it up. And you can do it again. You can start over. So you can thin things out. I can make these smaller, but they're still pretty white, so they stand out. I love this pencil. I really do. I love them. They're like a secret weapon. I can thin out this brow like that, or the lash, I mean, I'm sorry. I can soften this end here where it comes up from the fur. I can go right over it with some fur with my pencil. So it looks like it's coming out from the fur rather than just, you know, sitting there. And then in here, I can actually highlight some of these little specks I put in. I could put it under shadow with my black under the white. So on my buffalo, I used the, Rebecca, I was wrong. We talked the other day and I said I used only the slice tool. I actually did use this pencil on the snow. I realized it after I looked at it. So I used,
Okay.
yeah, I used, I did use the slice tool for all the fur on the buffalo, the highlights, and I did use it on some of the lower light snow pieces, but then I popped up the white with this pencil. I went over the
Gotcha.
snow and touched it. So it had like a shine to it.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I forgot about that. So yeah, it's a really, you can really do a lot with these. And then the black is super, super black. I don't know if I have the black with me right now. But if I wanted to really pop this in here up, I would take that, there's a white and a black. I would take the black and I would paint in that black, and it's very black. I could do the pupil too. So if your black is like, especially on watercolor paper or Bristol smooth paper, you can only get so many layers. And you're like, man, it's just not popping. I really want the white and the black to pop. That's where these come in handy. That black will get really, really dark without putting more layers on. So awesome, awesome pencils to have. I really encourage you, if you're going to do colored pencil, to buy them. So that's how we can get these little details at the very end. And you get all this nice texture. So I hope you can see that. So, and it popped up my eye, the glint in the eye. So I was able to really get that bright. And up here, it just started to really add some fluffiness. And I can go right over this white, the paint, with my browns and stuff and start building some more layers. And then I can go over it again with white and really get that depth. I want to kind of stop here. I know we didn't get very far in the ear, but I want to see what you guys did. So I don't want you to, you know, be afraid to show everybody. So if you guys can, do you guys have cameras right now? If you can pop your camera down onto what your work, we can all see it and see where we are. Or you can, you know, hold it up, whatever you have to do. And then if we have time, we'll continue to draw a little bit on the ear, but that's probably as far as we're really going to get today. So everybody's muted, so you have to unmute. Let me unmute you guys. Okay.
Nikki, it's
Yeah.
Barb. Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Because I can't see me on my screen
Oh,
and I
go-
wasn't
Go to view.
view.
Try, what do you have it on? It should be up in your right-hand corner, the view button.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Gallery view, full screen.
Try gallery. Do you have it on speaker view right now?
No, now I have it on gallery view.
Can you see yourself now?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
Show self view. There we are.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay, so here's mine. I'm not liking the way my ear turned out.
Okay, you know what? I need to, can you tilt it a little bit? The way the light is showing, it's hard for me to see it. Okay. Okay, what's wrong with your ear?
I don't like the top of it.
Yeah, that's because honestly, Barb, we didn't work too much on the top.
Okay,
So we would continue to build that, but this is where that pencil will come in. Do you have that pencil?
I don't. I have a watercolor pencil and I thought it might do the same thing, but I don't think it does.
It's not. Yeah, that's the problem with the white watercolor. It's too transparent. This is thicker. It's going to be more like it's more like an acrylic without using an acrylic. If you use an acrylic or a gel pen, that could disqualify you from any shows.
Sure.
So this pencil would help, but that would help you because what's happening is it looks like you're burnished pretty good, like you're not really seeing the white of your paper. So because we're working on this type of surface, your pencil isn't grabbing much anymore. So a couple of things you could actually do. You can get the white and build that up on top, and that it's just a matter of building some more layers there. That's all that's wrong. The rest looks really, really good. You can build that up a little bit. You can also try taking an eraser and erasing some of it so that you get down to the paper a little bit more so you can read.
Yeah,
You just
I was doing that and then I was affecting the tooth of the paper, so I stopped.
Yeah, that's the only problem. And once you lose the tooth from erasing or scraping, you're
Right.
done. You're done.
Right.
Although there is, depending on how far you want to take your dog, this is more of a tutorial, so I don't know if it's something you want to keep going. There is this. This is called Texture Fixative 4 colored pencil. You can get it at Dick Blick. It's by Brush and Pencil. You can spray this on where you're having problems, and it basically gives you tooth back. So
Oh.
like a grit that you can then work over. You may have to work it, spray it, work it, spray it. You know what I mean? Like in levels, depending on how much of the tooth you lost. But this works really, really well. You don't want to get the final fixative. There's two. This is final fixative. This is when you're all done. You can, if you want, spray your picture and seal it. I never
Right.
spray. I hate spray, but I
Yeah.
do use the textured, especially if I lose my surface, which has happened to me a lot. It happens all the time. So I use the textured a lot. So you can do that. You could try doing that and then using the white pencil to build up the top. And then you would continue to layer. So like it's hard for me to see, but it looks like you worked that front very nicely, the front of the ear. So I can see where you have, the only thing I would suggest is you have your beige edge and your black. I would suggest, let me show you, taking your black pencil or your gray. What you need to do is from the black to this beige edge down here is just a couple pieces, just start to connect it. So pull a couple pieces from the black down.
Okay.
What's happening to you is you're getting that like hard line.
Yeah.
You want to soften that line. That's all. That's all you need to do. So all you're going to do is pull some pieces, you don't want to do it a lot, but just pull some to connect the black to the beige to say like, this is all one piece of fur, but it's darker up here and it's lighter down here. So you want that mid-tone. We're missing that mid-tone in between.
Okay.
You can use either, I would say it looks like you probably want to use your dark gray and kind of build that up in there.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks fantastic. You went very dark on the face, which I love.
I did.
I told you to go darker, right?
Did, yeah.
That's good. Like if I had finished mine, all of this would be very, very black. So
Yeah.
if you feel like it got too flat, if you feel like putting so much black in there, you lost like some texture, try your tool. Try using your, just like we did on the ear. If you have the slice tool, try pulling a little bit of the black off.
Yeah, I used an X-Acto knife.
Yeah, X-Actos are tough, but it will work.
It worked, yeah, it worked.
It will work, but you do have to they will slice your paper more than the slice tool will. So you just have to go slow with X-Acto.
Okay.
They're very sharp and they can damage the paper quicker. But you could just get some texture, and rarely it's going to be right. It's hard for me to see. You may have done it already.
No.
But you can get some lift just right at the just a couple hairs in that black part to kind of break it up a little bit and give it some depth. So that's all. But it looks awesome. How do you feel?
I liked it till I started the ear, but I think if I work on the ear,
It's just the top. All
I
you
can improve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just getting your mid-tone in that front part, and then you just need to order the tools to get that top. That's all. Other than that, you'll if you want, once you order it, you can always message me too and say, okay, I'm trying this. Is this the way to do it? And I'll
Okay.
walk you through it.
Okay.
Okay, but it looks
Yeah.
awesome. I love it.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
mean, this is the first time you've done colored pencil, right?
Well, in many, many years.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I
so
mean, when in design school, I did my renderings with markers and pencils,
yeah.
but I've been out of design school now for 15 years, so.
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it looks really good for not, doing it for a very long time and trying it. You did a wonderful job.
Thanks.
Yep. How about
It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what? If you get to the point where you're so frustrated with it, just start over. I mean, there's no point in putting a lot of effort into something you're not completely happy with. What I would end up doing, and I've had to start drawings over, it's happened. If this wasn't going in the direction I want it to, and I've tried all my fixes, I would keep it and use it as a test piece. So when I redo it, I would try something on my old one before I do it on my new one. So it's a great practice tool that way. The buffalo I did one prior to that, and it just was not going where I put 70 hours into it and it wasn't going anywhere. And I finally just stopped and redid it.
Oh
And then
my God.
I was so happy with the revision. But yeah, it happens. It's gonna happen. That's part of learning.
Right.
So Leslie, how about you? How's it going?
I had to unmute. I'm actually watching you more than I was trying to watch you and look at my reference and draw. So I just stopped and I'm watching. If you
Okay.
wouldn't mind if I emailed you during the week when I.
Oh yeah,
move
no,
along a
that's
little bit
fine.
more on it?
That's fine. I actually do that a lot when I do workshops. I watch and pay attention rather than doing the drawing.
Yeah, I just kind of let it wash over me, and I think I
Yeah,
can practice the fur on the ear a little bit more.
Yeah, no,
Because I
no,
was
that's
starting to get a
awesome.
little funky, so.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely send me whatever you do, and that way I can kind of guide you and see where you need to change something, or if you're good, you're good,
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, no problem. How do you like colored pencil? What do you think?
Oh, I love it. I've done watercolors and oils and everything, and just I picked up pencils. My mother gave me vintage pencils, the old Prismacolor. So I started playing. I never used them before, and that was it. I loved them.
Oh, good. I like
Yeah.
hearing when people like colored pencil, because I feel like we don't have a lot of colored pencil artists in the area.
I know. I don't know why.
Yeah,
They've been
it's,
around longer.
well, for many years, it really wasn't considered, a medium. I mean, it is, but it's really starting to get its drive. So
Yeah,
it's very exciting, because for a long time, I don't think it really got the respect it deserved. And
that's right.
Yeah. I mean, there's times you can make colored pencil look like an oil painting. So
They're just stunning. I just love
Yeah.
the colors you get and the blending and the layers. It's beautiful.
yeah, and I'm a pencil girl because it's so easy to take. Like,
Exactly. The portable and clean.
yeah,
You can pick them up and put them down. That's what I love.
yeah, like with the watercolor, you're halfway through something, you're like, I can't stop. I have to finish this section, or else it's not going to look the same or whatever.
Exactly. You have to work fast.
Yeah, and then exactly. And then my son will be like, Mom, I need you. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm in the middle of watercolor. Sorry.
Oh, the watercolor pencils I love.
I haven't tried those yet too much. I mean,
Those are fun.
this white one is similar to that. And I've played with watercolor pencils a little bit, but I should do
I
it.
love this tip with this pencil, the Stabilo pencil. That's
you try it?
fantastic.
Isn't
Yes.
that awesome? I know. This is like the secret weapon. I got this from Cynthia Knox. I don't know if you guys follow her. She's on Facebook. She's everywhere. She's an awesome colored pencil artist. And I took her workshop, and she had this, because my big struggle was white over dark. And she pulled this out and showed us how to do whiskers and stuff. I was like, I love you. You saved me so much time and effort. So she's the one who introduced me to these, and they're fantastic.
Hey, Leslie,
Yes.
this is Barb. Can you tell what brand of watercolor pencils do you have?
The Faber-Castell,
Okay.
the Albert the colors are really vibrant. Those are my favorite.
Have you tried the Inktense?
I have a small set, but I still go back to the
Do you?
Faber-Castell.
Everyone recommended the Inktense to me, and I have them, but I just haven't really used them. So
No,
I have, I
they're
have
permanent though.
I have the Castle, and I think they're cheap. I don't know. I don't know that
Is it the Albert Dürer?
they're called Castle Arts.
oh, they
those I'm not
probably are an
familiar with.
off-brand, Barb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
you know what? They're fun to play with and experiment with.
yeah. Yeah, if you're enjoying them now, I would definitely recommend upgrading because you will be
Yeah.
very pleased with the work. So there is something to be said about having the right tools. And here's an example. I had not done watercolor ever. And I decided I was going to learn watercolor. And I don't know if you guys know Kathleen Giles. She is a local watercolorist who's absolutely stunning. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take her class, thinking it was a beginner class. And I walked in with like, I don't know, some random hot press sheet of paper and a couple of brushes and cheapo paints. And she came over. I was really struggling. And she came over and she said, it's not you, it's what you're using. You're fighting yourself. So she gave me a list. She said, leave here today, go buy this brand of paints, get a couple of brushes, this quality, and get Arches hot or cold press paper, either 140 pound or 300 pound, and come back next time. What an enormous difference that made.
Sure.
So I went from hating watercolor that first day to going back. I thought, okay, whatever. Usually materials are materials. I've always been like a pencil is a pencil. And I went back and I fell in love. And of course, I wasn't fantastic at it. I had the technique I had to get, but just changing my materials bumped me up like 3 levels. I'm not kidding. So don't do that to yourself.
Especially
Yeah.
paper.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, paper. Yeah.
Paper
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Paper and brushes. Honestly, I had these cheap brushes that just weren't holding the water and stuff. So it was like dry brushing everything on. And then my paper was blotchy. I couldn't, she does these beautiful skin transitions and I'd have these blotches all over. She said, well, it's your paper. You have terrible paper. So yeah, definitely if you're enjoying it, I say try it with the cheap stuff. If you love it and you're enjoying it, or if you feel frustrated because you're not getting the look, buy just a little bit of the more expensive stuff and do it, and you will see the difference. It's huge. Same with colored pencils. I cannot tell you the difference between off-brand and your polychromos or like Carandiache and Faber-Castell and stuff. They are far superior than the other ones. And I like Prisma, but honestly, Prisma is not what I go to. It's not my pencil.
What's nice is you can buy those all open stock and just get a few colors and test them out.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Prismas
I
are
like that.
they're above student grade, but they're not considered like professional.
Mhm.
So I love the Luminance brand, the Luminance, not brand, but whatever, how the brand has all these different types. So I like the Luminance and I love Polychromos. And I just started buying Pablo. Where are they here? Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Oh, I don't have one in here. But the Pablo is just amazing pencil, but you're going to spend probably $5 or $6 per pencil.
Now, are you really cautious about the light fastness of your pencils that you
I'm
use? Because you do a
not.
lot of commissions, no?
Not because I use the better brands.
Okay.
And that's why the better, when you get into luminance and stuff, they're going to be more, of course, different colors are going to be different light fast. Pinks, yellows, they tend not to wear as long. But when you get into the better brands, you're pretty much guaranteed that they're going to be light fast. So Prismas and stuff, yeah, you definitely need to be careful if you're doing commission work. If you're just playing around, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But same with paper. You want good paper. Otherwise it will yellow. It will yellow over time. Hey, Rebecca, are you there? Did you stick
I'm
around?
here.
Do you want to show us what you did?
Yep, 1 second as I knock my coffee over.
So I had 9 people sign up, but they didn't show up. So
Huh.
I wonder, they're probably going to do the recordings. Oh, how adorable.
Can you see me?
All right.
Oh, that's great.
So same thing. Try to transition from the black to the beige a little bit more. So I don't know if you guys can see, but okay. So see how it, yes, it's very, very dark in here, but you can see a lot of the blacks kind of come through underneath the beige and the brown. That's really all you and Barb need to do is kind of transition that a little bit more. Because what's happening is when I'm looking at it as a viewer, I'm seeing that line. I'm seeing it goes from black to beige. And I do
Yeah.
see you've done some where you've pulled it through. I think if you take your mid-gray, your mid-tone gray and go right over those and pull it down into that beige further, I think you're going to be a lot happier because that'll kind of disappear. But super, super cute. And it looks,
you.
yeah,
I got really frustrated, so I actually stopped working on that part.
no problem. And it looks, did you try to get some texture in there? It looks like you did some texture in there.
I tried to, yeah,
Yeah.
I got to work on that part.
No, I can see it though, so that's good. Yeah, so what I'm seeing with both you and Barb is just even above the eye, going right under the ear.
Mhm.
So if you look, it's I push some of the darker colors right up into that to kind of give it, I don't want a smooth line here, it's fur. So, oh wait, I'm looking at this part, sorry, right above the eye. So right in here, I don't want this to be like a smooth, unless the dog, let me see. Yeah, no, it's kind of like, and it's not finished, but I would bump some of the darker up in and some of the lighter back in. So you can get rid of that line. We just, when we're doing drawings that are live people or animals, we don't have outlines, right? We have transitions. So always think in transition. It's going from a dark to a light, and there's going to be a mid-tone. Chloe, stop. So try to remember that. But other than that, I mean, it looks awesome. It looks really,
Thank you.
really good. I love the softness that you have going. I love that you're doing some texture. The eye is stunning. You did so good on the eye.
Thank you.
Do you have the white pencil? Did you try it?
I don't have that,
Okay.
no.
But if you get around to getting it, try that. That'll bump up your top here a lot. And we didn't work much on that, but I would get more color up in that top part. So if you guys look at, if you're going to keep working, if you were to look at that picture, all this in here, we've got quite a bit of color. And even back here, yes, it's light, but you can look at that and see grays, real subtle grays, and it's some lines going through it. So you're going to pop those up through, and then it kind of gets a little darker down here. It's very light, but there's still color in there. You still want to get some color in there. And once you and Barb do that, that's when you're going to start to see this part pop up. It's going to pull up away from the ear.
Okay.
Do you have questions? Is there any part that was, you said you got frustrated on the ear?
Yeah, right here. I gave up for now.
Between the black and this part of the ear, or the
This part right here.
okay, yeah, just keep working on a mid gray in there. So actually, why don't you try it right now? Grab your, and Barb, you too, grab your mid gray. We have a few minutes, so grab that. I'll do it too. That 20%.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Grab your 20, And between the black and the beige, get some of that color in there and do it random. And what I mean by that is every once in a while, pop that light gray up into the black further and down into the beige further, and then do it random. So then, and then go back to shorter strokes and then a longer stroke, and then a shorter stroke and then a longer stroke. And just kind of work that transition. I think you just need to start to soften that, and then you'll be a little more satisfied. Don't worry about if you put texture in your ear and stuff, because we can do that again. You can go over it and do it again. But it's just a matter of getting that mid-tone in between the two harsh colors. What's happening is you have a very dark area and a very light area and no in between.
Mhm.
So, and make it random. So every once in a while I'm popping a big line in and then some shorter lines. I'm keeping them fairly close to each other. I'm not separating it out too much. We don't want soldiers. But I'm just trying to blur. It's like you're trying to blur that edge. So see if that helps you a little bit.
Okay.
And then both of you at the bottom of your ear, I think you can go ahead and punch in some darker browns.
Okay.
So what we want to see is the ear at the bottom should like turn almost like it's curled under a little bit. So it's a little darker at this bottom and it goes to that mid-tone again. So you can go ahead and use that burnt sienna and really kind of get some color down there. And same thing, some shorter strokes and longer strokes. Shorter strokes and then pop a longer one in. And just lightly kind of glaze over what you have. This is when I wish we were all together, because I could actually see like how you're doing the strokes. Sometimes that's a factor. And that's the only bad thing about doing the Zooms.
Do you have any idea when we might be able to meet in person?
Yeah, actually, Rebecca and I were talking, and I might have space in where she works. So I'm looking at maybe doing something in July or August. It's tough in the summer because everybody's so busy, but I might do something in person. This class actually was supposed to be in person a year ago, but then COVID hit, and the lady who has the space who approached me for it, her space is so little that even now we couldn't do it because you guys would be too close to each other.
Right.
I can't do it in my house because I could if we didn't have COVID, but again, it's a space thing. And then I just didn't want to do it. So so what had happened is this colored pencil class was set at a certain price because I was going to get the space at a very good deal. The problem now is space costs more, almost as much as the class that I'd make from the class. So for me, it wasn't feasible to like hold it in another space that actually has the room because I wouldn't make any money. So moving forward, if I had to do something like that, the cost of the class would have to go up. But that's not how this whole thing started. So I couldn't change it like midstream. But if things work out with like Rebecca, where she works, I can probably work out a better deal because it's a restaurant rather than people who have classrooms want classroom prices, which makes sense. I can accommodate people and still keep my price down. So I'm working on it. I don't know when or where yet, but we're working on it. Maybe if they lift the restrictions, I can do it right at my house, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have the room in my house. I just don't have 6 feet for each of you to be distanced from each other. But I can definitely fit, 10 people in here to do a class in a regular seating arrangement. So does anybody have any more questions or want to see anything? I can do a quick demo if you have need.
What about now if we continue, on our own, which we're of course going to do. So the fur, the fur on the outside of the body,
Yeah.
any tips for
So-
that?
So the fur on the front of the dog and back here, kind of the same concept. So if I were to keep going on this back part, I'm going to keep, it's the same thing. Let's get our layers up. I'm going to start with my lightest value. I'm going to get these in. I'm going to keep my chunks. Like you want to see fur as chunks. So what I mean by that is when I'm looking at this, whoop, that's the wrong one. That's my high contrast one. When I'm looking at this, what I'm seeing are chunks. I'm seeing this is a chunk. This is a chunk of fur. This whole thing is a chunk of fur. Over here, this whole white piece is a chunk. And that's in, oh, look at this one down here. Huge chunk of lighter pieces of fur. Then this is like a mid-tone, right? So I want to look at my fur as chunks to start. Same with back here. Here's a nice white chunk and this one. And that's how I would pursue it. So same as the ear, I would get my light colors in and keep them in my chunks. I'm not worried about individual pieces of fur till later. So just kind of loosely sketching them in. And you would do the same for the front. And I'll show you quickly the front, how that will look. So this kind of comes down from here. Like that. Right now, I'm just trying to keep, I'm doing real big strokes and I'm just trying to keep the direction of the fur so I can see how that's working. And then in here, these are going to be darker pieces later. And then it kind of comes off this way. Okay, and I would mark these out and start to build them. So I've got more up here. So I'm going to switch now to my, so up this part, we're going to use primarily beige. We're going to use our 20% gray. We are going to use a little bit of burnt sienna brown. And where I'm seeing that is just in these areas. See how it's a little browner? It's a little warmer down in here. So I would pop some of the sienna brown in there, especially down here. And then of course, I don't see a lot of black on this side. I'm seeing the dark gray. So I would use that. No black over here. Black over here, none over here. So I would start to put in some of these brown colors. And again, I'm going to work in chunks. So what I'm seeing, that's there, this up here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, if you screw up a little bit of where brown goes, who cares? I'm going to put some in there. It peeks through from under here a little bit, definitely down in here. Definitely comes out from this black in here. Like that. That I would take care of later. This little piece above this dark area and up here I'd probably work on last because it's going to require a lot of building the light layers and then texture like we did over just this little section. This isn't even done. So this would require more work too. So I might work on this large area and then go back to doing the ear later. So. And then over here we get into black. So this is all on top.
What color are you using, Nikki?
Right now I'm using sienna brown.
Okay.
I'm just kind of feeling around. That's all. I'm just seeing where I want pops of brown. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. So this down here comes this way. I'm skipping spots because I don't want it all brown. So see how I'm leaving large chunks of white in between?
Right.
That's on purpose. It's not that I forgot. I'm purposely doing that. So I would do that. And then, so this first part's very sketchy. I'm gonna grab the gray. I got a 20 gray and just start to pop around those browns. I'm going up into the beige. So this is like my transition from dark brown to the lighter beige. My mid-tone, I'm just kind of popping some of these in. Softening those edges because we don't want lines. And then once in a while, I'm putting the gray into the actual beige fur because we want to carry it through. But again, keeping it loose, creating darker spots that's underneath the beige, just kind of, I'm kind of going by my reference, but not really. I'm just kind of playing with some of these big pieces of fur. Because again, nobody's going to look at it and go, well, that's not how that looks. It will be close enough when you're done. And then this is interesting. So this is cool. So from here, from this is pretty dark, but then it has this like wispy, right here, these wispy parts. So I do want to kind of capture those, even though there'll be more of a detail when I'm done. So this comes down and I've got this wispy kind of playful curl almost here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that up over the beige, just so I remember that it's there. And then we kind of go back into these, the dark black over here. It's starting to get darker. Okay. And then over here, well, we could put some gray here. Why not? Why not? Definitely have some dark grays down here. So I'm going to get some mid-tone in here. And this is actually going to be much darker later. You can even, if you want, you can even get some of the, you can start some of the texture, even though we're working over white. We don't have a lot of layers down. You can go ahead and do that. It just helps you later when you add the texture to already have some of the feel underneath. I'm working on this one big section down here. I'm just drawing in some lines, connecting it, but at the same time, keeping that separate. It's hard to explain. It's almost like she's got long hair. So up here later, we will get some beige and whites. We'll actually use some of that pencil technique to get some of these pieces that are kind of really rogue. They're kind of doing their own thing like that. And I'm back on my beige and I'm just going to kind of now start to get some of these lighter areas in that are going to pop kind of up. Not using a lot of pressure, doing very, very light strokes. This is very white. Down here, this comes out like this. That, and then there's a big piece of white here, but then it kind of dives into underneath this fur here. So I'm going to make it so it's coming out from under there like that. And then it kind of comes over. And here, this all kind of comes in front. Like that. This is that loop-de-loop. Okay. So just big strokes, just trying to get a feel for where I've got darks and lights. I'm gonna grab my white. There are some really light pieces of chunks of fur in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and use some pressure and get some white in here. Just try to blend it out a little bit. Not a lot of pressure, just a little bit. So rather than like a 1, which is kind of gliding over the paper, I'm just pressing down a tiny, tiny bit. This comes down. This is all very, very white in here. It's like lighter than the rest. Same with here. That's all pretty dark. I'm actually moving quickly because we only have so much time, but I would do this a little bit slower. That's pretty white. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just making sure I've got things plotted where I want them. Does it make sense? Does it look similar to my photo reference? Can I keep building on what I'm doing? If not, I want to take some off and change directions. And yeah, I like it, so I can keep going. So once I'm at this point, I can say, okay, this looks pretty good. And I can go back and start filling in again. And just you slowly start build down and down and down into like these little sections like we did here. And we build it up and we get that texture in and we finish it. So I'm going to actually take my gray now because I don't want to use black in this area. I'm going to start popping some of that dark gray in to see where I need to be. A little bit there. I've got this one piece here and it kind of goes up into nothing. Some smaller pieces here. Here. So up in here, this thing, I've got my 2 V's. So I've got some dark colors that are going to come down from there. This goes up. Into there. It's going to come down, up a little bit. And then here's where we get the like swirls. So I can kind of start putting those in. Just watching my reference photo, trying to gauge where, so in here, right, I'm seeing this right here. So I can actually pop that in if I want, just to guide me. So I can take any color, it doesn't matter. I got a 30 and just very lightly push this. This tells me that right here, it's like a reminder, this is going to come in a different direction. And this fur texture is completely different than what's happening back here. This is this sort of texture. So right now I'm just marking that so I remember when I get into this area that that's what I need to do. To switch colors, switch direction, switch texture. So it's just a little bit of a reminder. I'll come back to that later and build on it. I'm going to go back to my dark gray. And then down here somewhere. So we have this, and then in here, we've got some darker gray. Like that. It kind of comes up. This is that very light piece. Okay, so there. And then this is going to come into here. So it all kind of connects. But already you can start to see how look at how we're getting that structure going. So then down here, we have some more darker grays. But the first thing I want to do is I want to get in this right here, this division. So it kind of comes off. If I follow this line right there, and then it jumps over just a little bit and kind of comes that way. So if I follow my line from my V down, kind of curves, and it stops in here, and this is going to come that way. It jumps over a little bit, and then it kind of comes down this way. So from this point over, again, is going to be right here, is going to be a different, we're going to get into the black, darker colors, the blues, the blacks, the grays, and this is a textured fur. It's going to have curl to it. It's going to have that like if you were to touch this, it almost feels like it might be coarser than, well, this looks pretty coarse too, but it's going to be coarser feeling than this might be. And especially than what this is. This is soft up here. This is finer fur. So there's that. And this is actually going to come this way more. I got it back too far, but that's okay. We'll just incorporate it. Okay, so I've got some darks in. I want to put a little bit of dark in here. Not much, just a little bit. And I want to separate. What I'm doing is trying to separate this a little bit. Okay. A little bit of dark in here. All right. So then I'm going to switch back. I'm going to go back to my sienna brown and just start popping this in a little bit more right here. Being a little more deliberate now where I'm putting things. Going right over that dark brown. I want to add some of the sienna in here. Or the dark gray, sorry, not brown. And then in here. If you guys have to jump off, that's fine. It's after 12:30, so I understand. Just checking once in a while, making sure I still like what I'm seeing. I want to get some more browns down here. And then in here. So at this point, I would most likely go and start a section. I feel good about like what I've got laid out. So this is where I would start like we did over here. I'm going to pick somewhere, it might be back here, and I'm going to start working this area, getting into more and more detail. So I got to get this chunk in. 1 minute here. So this comes down like that. I want that in there. Okay. So I would probably jump up. I don't know. I'd probably actually finish this first, but I would jump up here and start to get all the details in here. So we'll start back here though. So this is the back where I'm looking is right in here. So right there. So I would switch now to my white and beige. And I'd start working that area. So I'm going to get some beige in here. Still using a light touch. Like that. But I just kind of stay in a spot and work that spot until I feel like it's done. Oh yeah, mine's peach beige. That's why it looks funny. Okay. So this is that like dark part of the ear. So I can go up in here. And I'm actually going to try to get that in. I'm going to use some blue first because I want a nice color under my black. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some blue in here. And then I'll put black over it. Actually, it should be down here. Okay, so that's there. This one comes out down here. And then I'm going to go grab my black and I'm going to go over that. I'm going to do something up here. This has to connect somehow. So. And these fine hairs here, these little things that go over the black, that's all going to be done at the end. So I'm not worried about it right now. So I've got that. This connects in here and comes out. One here is then I want to take my gray, go over it. So I'm just trying to, again, I'm trying to get the layers in, trying to smooth the tooth of the paper. I'm not pressing hard. I'm still, I am going to put some gray in here. And back here, it's kind of underneath the beige. Just a couple pieces, and up in here, like that. Okay. This needs to come up a little bit. That. Now here, so now we're going to start to connect this part to this part. So we've got this here, kind of comes up here like that. Lace over the black here.
Hey, Nikki,
Yep.
I have to take off,
Yeah, that's fine.
but thank you so much. And then you'll send us the recording, or is it already?
No, I gotta tweak it all, so I'll send it to you.
Okay. Hey,
But-
thanks a lot and happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, you too.
All
And
right,
I'm
I'll
gonna go too.
Yeah.
Thanks so much again. Appreciate it.
No
keep
problem.
in touch, Nikki.
You're
Keep in
welcome.
touch.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. It's been fun. Thank you so much. You're
You're
such a good instructor.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I hope it
I
made
agree.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.
Bye.